Okay, first up that I know he's here is Casey Horner. This is Casey, letter this year. Is his first letter as a sophomore. Casey came off the bench for us. He was always the first player, and Robbie can allude to this, Robbie Moe can. He's always the first player off the bench to either high-five somebody, smack him on the butt, punch him, whatever he needed to do, to let him know he's a good teammate, and he was. And that goes a long way for team camaraderie as far as what you guys need and what you guys like out there. I think it's important for guys, and we try to improve that bench decor, right? And get these guys up and get them going, because the guys appreciate it. They laugh at him, well, come on, Casey. What do they do? They get a little enthusiastic out there, and it makes a difference as far as what he can do for us, even strictly on the bench. He did have opportunities to play in the game with a couple injuries, a couple guys sick. When that happened, Casey was able to step up, and he played, I think, 3 quarters at a time, where there'd be certain games he'd play 30 seconds. Then in a game, like I say, he played 3, almost the whole game he'd play, with a few minutes here or there. So whenever it's his time, whenever he had his card called, he would step out there and be ready to go whenever I'd ask him to. So Casey, like I said, is a sophomore. He's got some big shoes to fill with these guys leaving. I know he'll do his best, and I look for a lot of good things for him because Casey's a great kid. I kind of laughed when I put this on there. I said that Casey exploded in the Berkshire game with that in the last 2 minutes when he had 5 points. Right? He had 5 points in like the last 2 minutes, hit a 3, and then got a layup, and something else happened, but we won't talk about that one. Missed a free throw, I think. So, no, anyways, but he did a great job this year, and I wanted to thank you, Casey. Good job, bud. Next up is Bryce Hogue. This is Bryce's second letter. He kind of was in the same role he was last year. Came off the bench. He was the 6th, 7th man, depending on what we needed in the game. He always kind of go in the first quarter. Usually at the end of the first quarter, I kind of had a routine where I put guys in just to get guys breaks. So Bryce would always go in kind of late in the first quarter, stay over into the second quarter, and then if things are going well, play a little bit more that quarter than other quarters. So most times he did. He's a great defender. He was always trying to go in the game, and he always tell me he wanted to guard the best player, which is fine with me. We need more guys like that want to come in the game and just get after it. And what I mean get after it is that they want to get in guys' faces and make it tough for them to do what they want to do. So Bryce is that guy that did that a lot of time in the game. He was able to play multiple positions. He played point, played off guard, did a lot of things, as I said, defending. He was real patient. I know because there's games I would look at him, we'd talk, and I know he was frustrated. Bryce wasn't a vocal person to complain, but Bryce was also a person that came to practice. He's usually the first one there most of the time, and you stick around shooting after practice too. So those things go a long way with me, and there'd be one game he'd play only like 3 or 4 minutes, and he'd come back the next day, he's the first one in the gym. And not everybody does that. Some people will sit at home and complain and be unhappy with their situation instead of saying, how can I make it better? What can I do to make it better? And I think that's kind of the personality that he has. And I look forward to him doing that moving forward because, as I said to Casey, these guys are all graduating. This is his time, depending on what he and the rest of the guys do here in the offseason. So I think it's a great opportunity for you. I think he definitely will do that. His game highs, I said he had numerous impacts on defensive, but Bryce had 7 points and 4 assists. In the PB game, that was a big point. So it's not about how many points you score, it's when you score them a lot of times too. So we're struggling a little bit. I think that game is when he came in and had some points for us when we didn't. I think that might have been in the second quarter when he scored all 7 of them. So very good job. Thank you a lot, Bryce. So we have Matt Carney. Matt's a junior. This is his second year playing varsity. It's his second year as a starter. He got a little minutes his freshman year. sparingly, but he got probably 6-8 quarters under his belt his freshman year. Last year he started for us. Matt just seems to blossom every year into a better player, different skill sets. He gives a lot to us. Many reporters after the game will ask me, about different players. I know you're laughing right now. What am I saying? I call him the Swiss Army knife because you use him so many different ways. He played point one time, then sometimes he's playing the 5. Other times he's a passer. Next time he's a shooter in our game. So we had numerous times we had 20 points. But he also had 3 different times he had over 6 assists in the game too. The big game he had when we played that I thought was a big deal was when we played at Fairport. He had 20 points and 13 rebounds, and 10 of them were offense. And I say offense is a lot of work because you're down there working your hardest to get some of them a couple of your own rebounds, but you're still fighting, not giving up on the play. So that was a big moment for him as far as that goes. He had 4 20-plus games this year, which is a lot. He was 3rd in our team in scoring, and Matt also just played in the Varsity All-Star game for underclassmen. So he's invited to that. So that's a big deal for people to be able to play in that game because you're invited to it, not just you just put a number in a hat and they select you. They actually want you to be there, so that's why it was a big deal for him to be there. So he represented our school, and he and Rob Bruncheck did a great job of representing Cardinal High School for that. That's it. Thanks, man. Next up is Rob Bruncheck. Guess the guys that shoot the threes, huh? All righty. Rob was our 6th man this year. He came out the bench, did an excellent job in that role. I gave him a second certificate there just to recognize him. Rob, he put out on the board out there because it's a little running joke I give with him all the time because I think he's tied the 3-point record in a game, I think 6 times, right? 5 times? Yeah, so he did it 5 different times. It just happens in the game when it comes to the end there. He maybe hit a 6th one late in the game, and he made 6 in our tournament game against Garrettsville, right? Didn't you have 6 that game too? So yeah, so it's just that's the way it goes. I know he's not really worried about breaking the record. I think he will just because you have opportunities. He's got a whole minimum of 22 games next year, so that possibility will be there. Rob was always a spark plug for us when he came out the bench. He's got a high basketball IQ, knows what he's supposed to be doing with the ball when he's away from the ball. Obviously, he can shoot the 3, so that gives us a different dimension that we hadn't had the year before that. So it was nice to have that addition to the team, especially come off the bench. A lot of teams halfway through the season didn't really had a guard him, and next thing you know, he's hitting 3 threes in a row on him. So he did a very good job this year for us. I know he was definitely recognized by a lot of the teams in the league, what kind of player he was. The big thing I thought, obviously scoring threes, that he did the best, it was defensively. He only not just grew basketball-wise, but he grew by, I think, 4 inches from last year. And I think he's got a 7-foot wingspan here. But he gets his hands on a lot of the basketball still in the passing lanes. And just have, like I said, the basketball IQ, kind of knowing where he's supposed to be at on the floor and make things happen out there for us. So Rob was fortunate enough to play in that Ohio Varsity All-Star game as well. Like I said, he and Matt did a very good job out there representing us. Rob's highlights this year, like I said, he led our team in 3-pointers made, led our team with 13 points. Actually, as far as average, he led our team in scoring with 13.1 points a game. Led our team in steals, and like I said, in 3-pointers. He had 5 20-plus games. He was named the honorable mention All-District, and I look forward to a lot of exciting things next year.